Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, today I'm going to take a look at this new little mini drone, or a tiny whoop as some people call it, by NEHEME, N-E-H-E-M-E, never heard of them. They're an Amazon seller, and it's called, the model is called also the Skywalker. The model number on this guy is the NH320. So a little whoop, it's got 3 speeds. You know, so it's got its lowest rate's very, very slow, which I'll mention here in a minute. It's got some rather unique light combinations. So let's grab the drone. As you guys can see here, compared to the box, it's, you know, it's really, really small. Let's let the box out of the way. And it's got this power button here on the top. It uses 4 blade props, so that's going to give it really good lift. But it does, you know, it will reduce the flight time. I only got about 4.5 minutes with about 45 seconds to a minute of that was the LVC lights flashing. So you only have about 3.5 minutes where you can do the 360 flips, because after that, of course, it disables that as the battery starts to get low. It does really nice, tight 360 flips. It is altitude hold, so that does, you know, cut down a little bit on its sportiness, but it still flies real nice. Just altitude hold, it kind of tries to gain altitude and stuff, and you can tell at times that will affect how sporty that the little guy flies. Now, it comes with 3 LiPo batteries, and they're little 300 milliamp 1S LiPos. So you got 3 of those in the pack, which is really nice. Let me show you guys. Here's another one in the bag, and then I've got the fully charged one in the tray here on the bottom. It does take a little screw. I don't have it in there. It's kind of a pain to have to mess with that screw. It also has a screw on the back of the controller. They do give you extra props. They give you a little screwdriver, thankfully, to take those screws out. One of the few times where the screwdriver that they give you in these drones actually is required. And the 2 chargers, that's great. You can charge up at least 2 of the 3 batteries at the same time and not have to charge each one individually with just 1 charger so many times you see. These Amazon sellers, because they're not always as cheap as buying overseas, they usually add these little perks like extra chargers, more batteries than normal, to make it more appealing to buy them from Amazon. But this is still an inexpensive drone. I don't know exactly what it costs, but it's not going to be very expensive. But as I said, the power button's on the top, and I'll show you that other really unique light combination. Now it's flashing because I'm not bound to the controller, but you've got white in the front, you got red in the rear, and you got green on the sides. I've never seen, at least I don't recall, I'll say never, a drone with 3 light combinations. They're usually just 2. That can be really helpful for orientation, though when you're not used to it, it can throw you off a little bit too. So you want to spot that white light or that red light, but sometimes you spot that green and then you're like, whoa, and then you remember that's the side. So if you're new to drones, that might be really helpful. For someone that's more experienced like myself, it can throw me off on my orientation a bit, especially flying indoors where the lights are more noticeable, because I'm looking for the white or the red, and then the green can throw me off. But for someone who's just starting out, this might actually be, you know, more helpful having that. So again, about 4.5 minutes flight time. Your battery charge time is going to be about 30 to 45 minutes on each one of these little guys. And then let's go over the controller on this little guy. As I said, it's altitude hold. The gyro calibration, which you should do when you first get it, or if you do a crash, is both sticks down to the right, and then the lights will flash. You got your 1 button takeoff and landing, and I think I've flown it several times already. I'm pretty sure it takes off without having to. Sometimes these auto takeoffs will just unlock the props and you have to still manually take off. Pretty sure this one still takes off. This one right here, let me double check with the controller. I think that was the emergency stop. Let's see. No, that's your 360 flips. And then you've got your headless mode here on this little button. And then right here you've got your 3 rates on this little button. So that's kind of unfortunate. There's some of these little buttons here. And then this is just your trims. So yeah, pretty basic on that. All right, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll take it up, and I'm going to fly it around here outside and show you guys how this guy flies. So I'll be right back when I get this bound up. All right, guys, so let's take it up and fly it around. Now I'll show you how it flies here on one of these packs. So I'm just going to set it on top of the car here. And we'll press the power button, and there it is, and red away, facing me I should say, so you know that's the rear. Turn on the little on and off switch here, and then do your binding sequence, and now it's bound. We'll take it off and I'll show those different rates and the flips in that while we want to do the flips early while we still have good sufficient power. So let's press that auto takeoff. Yeah, I was trying to remember. I thought it took off on its own, but I did mention that I wasn't for sure because I couldn't remember, even though I just flew it yesterday. But yeah, you do. I'll hold that down. It'll stop. But I didn't. But you do have to give it throttle, so it doesn't actually take off. That's why I said I couldn't quite remember, because I was kind of thinking it might. There's a very light breeze in here, but boy, look how it's struggling. I want to show you guys the yaw. It is very, very, very slow on the lowest rate. I want to get over here when I'm sheltered some. I'll show you guys. Look at that yaw. My goodness. Let's go up. Bring it over here. You have to use this little trim button. Let me get it here a little bit back. There is the yaw. There, it's much better in the middle rate, and then really nice in the highest rate. Outdoors, you're going to want to go highest rate. Indoors, you can go lower. To me, the lowest rate's so slow and not sporty that I don't see why you'd want to use it unless you are an absolute beginner. So you see it's able to handle this breeze coming through here pretty decent. Show you guys some funnels. It does funnels pretty nice. I'm going to bang into the... Let's get it. Ooh. There's a decent breeze, and this guy is small. So we got to keep that in mind. But I can't really do it indoors here at the in-laws, so there's too much noise with the kids. But yeah, this is a nice little drone. Works really well indoors. Obviously outdoors you want to be rather calm. Today's not the most ideal to be flying in the sky. So immediately make sure you're in the highest rate. But yeah, whenever I was flying here, you know, those green lights, I had to identify that means I was on the side. The problem is I don't know which side I'm on. So again, it might help some people. I'm going to land it there because I was about to crash. Let's move it over here a little bit. I want to show you guys those flips now before we run out of battery. So let's put it over here and see if we can take off on top of the Cadillac. Let's go ahead and do that. So again, it doesn't do auto takeoff. I mentioned that I thought it might. I couldn't remember. You have to manually do it. Let's do a flip. Yeah, see, it flips really nice. Ooh, banged into that. You gotta watch out for those ceilings. It does confuse these drones. Once you bang into it, they end up doing like that and going up and hitting it, getting stuck against the ceiling. So there we go. Ideally, you know, you'd review a drone like this inside. It's just hard to do these YouTube videos indoors. It's so limited space if your ceilings aren't high enough. So we're in the highest rate, and it's you know, it's almost stationary as that breeze comes through this carport. Of course, that increases the wind some. Let's take it over here. Whoa! There it is. I got full pitch backwards. See if we can make it back. This is probably going to also affect its battery. The fighting this breeze is going to be probably even less than that 4.5 minutes. Trying to get it here closer to the house where it's a little more sheltered. I'll show you guys those flips again. Flips really nice. What you'd expect. Whoa! Crashed into the ceiling again. Oh, the battery. Let me bring it down here. The battery's hanging out. Let's see. Again, that's why they include that compartment on here, is because that screw, I should say, on the compartment here is to make sure this stays in place. And what happened is I actually lost the screw. I was trying to get it in here as I was replacing the battery yesterday, and it fell somewhere on the carpet, and I just couldn't find it. So keep that in mind, that be careful with this little screw. That's the first time I've had that pop off, so don't be overly concerned if you don't. If you would lose it, it does snap in here. It's just that if you hit hard like I did, you could actually cause that to pop open. So let's put it on the grill, and I'm going to do a gyro calibration. This both sticks down to the right, And sometimes it can be a little finicky. I've gotten it to do the gyro calibration several times, but I've not seen the lights flash on this. Let's make sure. There we go. Now it's doing it. Sometimes it takes you a couple tries, but there we got it to go. Let's unlock the motors with some throttle. So yeah, make sure that you be careful with that screw on this little guy. So I would recommend using that screw, even though it's a bit of a pain having to mess with it. But I honestly was trying to use it. I just lost it. We have a flashing light now, so we are in the low voltage. You get maybe 45 seconds to a minute. I timed it, but I wasn't sure that I caught it right when it started. So it was somewhere around a minute I got. Whoa. But yeah, you got 3 batteries, so if you charged up all 3, you're looking at, 12 to 14 minutes. I wouldn't go all 3 batteries consecutively. I would do maybe 2. If you got all 3 charged, give it a break. Let those motors rest. They're going to get really hot, so you don't end up burning those motors out really quickly on this little guy. But a really nice little flyer. Really great for indoors with those, a ducted whoop like this. It's going to bounce off the walls. And I'm going to try to get it to land here in my hand since we're almost out of power. Yeah, just an auto landing. You can catch this little guy. It's rather safe. Yeah, you can get your fingers in the props, but it's not going to hurt you. It's just too small and too weak. But you're going to bounce off the walls. It's not going to break props easy. So they give you 4 extra props. You're going to have to get something jammed up in there and hit it hard to break those. So you probably are not going to ever need to replace the props. You can fly it outdoors. As you saw, this was not the most ideal. It's not super windy today, but through this carport where I needed to do it, is actually making the wind a little bit more, but it's still a little too windy for a little whoop like this. But this time of the year, you take what you can, and I can't always get out here and fly a little whoop around all the time because if it's raining or it's really windy like yesterday where the wind was close to 50 miles an hour at times, which you couldn't fly your biggest, best brushless drones in that. So yeah, it's a nice little drone. Really do like it a lot. It flies really well. So I would say keep it indoors. Take it outdoors when it's very calm and you're just fine flying it. And just be mindful of those green lights. I think for a beginner it might be really helpful. If you're someone like me who's not used to that, it actually can confuse you a little bit. I'll include a purchase link to this guy on Amazon. It should be available on Amazon Prime. That's down in the description if you're interested in checking it out. I'm sure it's not very expensive. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, guys. I want to get to that 10,000 subs, hopefully sometime early next year. That'd be really, really great. Be sure to click the bell so you know when I have uploaded a new video, you get notified, because it is so easy to subscribe to the channel and then you forget to check the channel out because you didn't remember to click that bell. I've been guilty of it myself. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.